This is the VOA Special English Education Report. Since the 1990s, education has been required for all South Africans from age 7 to 15. Last December, the government announced that 70% of students passed their final examination to finish high school. In 2008, the passage rate was about 63%. There have been increases each year since then. Professor Shireen Motala at the University of Johannesburg says access to basic education is no longer the problem in South Africa. She says most children stay in school until they are about 16. The problem now, she says, is that large numbers of them leave without completing high school. Students take an examination known as the matric in grade 12, their final or matriculation year. But Professor Motala says only around 45% of the children who started school in 2000 sat for the matric last year. South Africa has a 24% unemployment rate. Those who drop out must compete with better educated people for jobs. Educational researchers also point to another problem. They say South African schools do not produce enough students with the skills for higher education in math and science. Researcher Graham Block says many schools are not well equipped. The reality of poverty, he says, is that many children do not see laboratories or libraries at school. 92% of the schools do not have libraries. Also, education specialists say in many cases, teachers and school principals do not have the skills or training to do their jobs. In other cases, they are simply not doing their duty to provide an education. Professor Motala says a number of teachers were poorly trained during the system of apartheid or racial separation in South Africa. Apartheid ended in 1994. Secondly, she says, teachers have been confused by the many educational reform efforts in the last 15 years. And finally, she thinks language differences in the classroom have not gotten as much attention as they should. Subjects such as math and science are taught in English, starting at about age 10. But South Africa has 11 official languages and many more unofficial ones. South Africa's Minister of Basic Education promises a number of improvements. Andri Matshega says teacher development efforts will focus on subject and content knowledge and making sure the correct teachers are in the correct jobs. For VOA Special English, I'm Carolyn Prasuti.